Since our founding in 1902, AAA has stood for safety, security, and peace of mind. With its emphasis on driving safety, AAA pioneered the first driver education curriculum in 1935. Today, we are over 60 million members. ADTSEA and AAA have enjoyed an excellent partnership for well over 20 years. It gives me great pleasure to inform you that ADTSEA has endorsed our brand new 15th edition curriculum of How to Drive as the official curriculum for you. This partnership is taken to a whole new level. We jointly offer you a curriculum that meets the strict standards of ADTSEA. Together, we will deliver the most up-to-date content on vehicle technologies while increasing students' knowledge retention by providing interactive classroom exercises, including the WRAPT program, Risk, Assessment, Perception, Training. NHTSA's research solidly supports using the 90 WRAPT scenarios within How to Drive in training novice drivers. It's been proven to result in actual crash reductions among new drivers. Hopefully you were able to attend our How to Drive orientation session on July 17th, but if not, no worries. We'll be hosting another online orientation session in the coming weeks. To learn more or to purchase the How to Drive program, visit ADTSEA.org or contact Michael Kesey. Thank you for all you do teaching teens safe driving practices. Your efforts will stay with them for a lifetime.
All right, so I want to welcome everybody to our very first virtual ADTSEA conference, and this is a pre-meeting that we're having that ADTSEA has been kind enough to let us host this to give some orientation to how to drive. And just a little bit of housekeeping notes here. We did mute everyone's mic. You have the ability to unmute your mic, but we would suggest to keep it muted. If you have any questions, please put that in the chat box. We'll be monitoring that and we'll answer those questions as best we can at the end. We do have some time at the end for some questions. And again, use that chat function to do that, and we'll this will be a great session. So in order of kind of like a agenda, we're going to talk, Brett's going to kick this off and talk about the some exciting news with the new partnership between AAA and ADTSEA that many of you may know about, some of you may not. And I'm going to go over some highlights of the package and some of the benefits to the ADTSEA members. And then Dr. Bill and Rich Chittister will all go through an orientation session kind of at a very high level, but let you see some of the interactions that are within the How to Drive course content and the WRAPT program, and go through a lot of the many things and tools that you as an instructor would have access to during this, in using this curriculum. So with that, and like I said, we'll have some time for some Q&A at the end. So with no further ado, I want to kick it off to Brett Robinson. Brett?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. My name is Brett Robinson. I am the Executive Director for the American Driver and Traffic Safety Education Association. As most everybody knows, we are in the midst of planning a virtual conference. This is really kicking it off, but it starts on Sunday. Hopefully everybody is registered and ready to have fun during the virtual conference. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the partnership between AAA and ADTSEA. As most of you may know by receiving the ADTSEA newsletter or other communication mechanisms, we have entered into a partnership with AAA to endorse the AAA How to Drive 15th edition curriculum. We will no longer maintain the ADTSEA curriculum. The 15th edition with AAA really then in effect becomes the ADTSEA curriculum. It is the preferred and endorsed curriculum by ADTSEA. ADTSEA members will receive special benefits by being an ADTSEA member. Very soon we will be launching on the ADTSEA website a new portal for you to be able to access a special store to purchase the 15th edition curriculum with some added benefits of being an ADTSEA member, which Mike, I believe, is going to talk about shortly, where you will receive some free items, free shipping, those types of things. So we're excited. ADTSEA has never done anything like this before, to have such a level of partnership. But as you guys know, the world of traffic safety has evolved tremendously in the last 10 years. And to be able to reflect what that world now looks like requires a very comprehensive and modern curriculum to deliver driver education courses from the standpoint of how teens learn today. And that's a big part of it, engaging them in the way in which they learn. And the other piece is all the advances in vehicle technology. And how do we prepare teens to operate vehicles with the technology that is in those vehicles today? You also know all the social issues. When we look at impaired operation, use of marijuana, distractions, and fatigue, you really do need a robust modern curriculum that helps to address those issues in the driver education and training process, which certainly then shows why we wanted to enter into a partnership with somebody like AAA to indeed then provide to our members a resource to have the most up-to-date modern curriculum that is available. You'll learn more about what those benefits are of being an ADTSEA member. Hopefully the portal on the ADTSEA website will be live within the next couple of weeks or sooner. If you've been to the ADTSEA website, you've received your username and password, you can see the ADTSEA website is changing for the better. Again, a more modern website with you able to access with the username and password and to update your own information. And also soon, in addition to the portal to purchase the AAA curriculum, will be a members only section, which will offer free resources to driver educators that would not be available to others who are not members of ADTSEA. So a lot of exciting things going on within ADTSEA, ADTSEA's website, and the partnership that we've entered into with ADTSEA to endorse the 15th edition as the preferred, as the ADTSEA curriculum.
All right. Well, thank you, Brett. And you know, I want to take a moment and really just talk about, you know, this is AAA has never done this either. Okay, so this is a new thing for ADTSEA to be able to endorse, and this is certainly a paradigm shift for AAA to have a organization with the stature and the importance of an ADTSEA to endorse our curriculum. So we don't take that lightly. And one thing that I want to say on behalf of AAA and to let you all know, and this will be reiterated, I'm sure, during the conference itself, is that Brett and the executive committee really had the members' best interests at heart in the negotiation and putting together this package. You know, there's a lot of value here, and there's a lot of things that are unique that are only going to be available for an ADTSEA member. So they really went out of their way to make sure that there was an added benefit to you as a member and to the organization. So really wanted to thank, you know, Brett for his efforts in that. So what is How to Drive? And I'm going to cover the next couple of slides very quickly. And then at the very end, David Dean, our marketing technologist, another person on our team, will kind of talk a little bit more about how you'll purchase, and we'll talk about that at the end. But, you know, How to Drive is comprised of these 4 parts. We have an instructor guide, the How to Drive DVD, which is about 3.5 hours of video, and the workbook, and a textbook. So the textbook is available in both a hard and soft cover version, which is unique. We've never had that before. And the workbook, this is the first time that our curriculum has had an in-class or a homework assignment type workbook that's for every student will get this. And within that workbook, and I don't want to steal any thunder from Bill and Rich, because they're going to talk a lot about some of the things that are contained within that workbook, but it's a great way to kind of reinforce certain aspects of what the teen is learning in that particular chapter. So you're going to hear a lot about the ADTSEA package. So what is the ADTSEA package? And what that is it's a 1 DVD, it's 1 instructor guide, it's 15 of the workbooks, and 1 textbook. And that's $350 for that package. Now, that's not a complete set. I mean, that does include all the pieces and parts of how to drive, but certainly if you need more workbooks, which you will, and you're certainly going to need more than 1 textbook, but you're able to purchase those separately. But this is a very good starter package. It's everything that the instructor would need to be able to teach the course. But again, you know, you'll go through and you'll be able to add those workbooks and textbooks as you need, because everyone has different class sizes and we didn't want to have a one size fits all, but this is something everyone can certainly start with. So next slide. All right, so let's talk about some of the benefits. So I mentioned, you know, you've got the ADTSEA package, which is a deep discount just on that over just what it would be if you bought all those items a la carte. But you're also entitled to, and everything's based on volume. And for simplicity here, I'm only talking about percentages. I didn't get into the breakdown of certain sizes and, you know, how many you buy to get this. That'll all be articulated on the site. But you're eligible for at least a 5%, a 10%, or a 15% discount off of the textbooks and workbooks, depending on the volume that you purchase. So the more you need, the more you're going to save on those items. And also with that, and this is a big benefit, free shipping. So everyone loves Amazon, right? You get it there and, you know, you click on a Prime member, you click it, you get it. We can't promise 2 days, okay? Can't do Prime shipping. Hopefully you're going to get it in about 3, but you're going to get free shipping. That's just tremendous savings to you. We do everything through FedEx, so it's it's secure. But and then if you need a lot of material, and again, this will all be articulated as far as the brackets that these kind of come into play. But you're going to get flat rate shipping as well. So if you needed, you know, 500 of something, then you're going to just pay a flat rate fee for the shipping, which would be far less expensive than if you actually had to pay for the real shipping. So that's a huge savings to you as an ADTSEA member. And again, as I also mentioned, there's bulk discounted rates. So if, you know, you're a very large school and you need, you know, a lot of material, we'll just have that conversation and we'll work out the best deal depending on what you need. But at the very minimum, you're going to get that 5, 10, or 15% discount off of the workbooks. And we also have instructor guides are discounted, as well are the DVDs. So again, a lot of great benefits that are, again, this is only available to an ADTSEA member, which is one of the reasons, I just want to touch on this briefly, one of the reasons that you'll really pretty much go to the ADTSEA site, you'll have to vet your membership, and then you'll be taken over to the AAA site to purchase. And again, we're working through the details of that. It is kind of technical to get the 2 systems to be able to communicate with one another, but it'll be very seamless for you as an end user to, you're going to click, you're going to go over to our site, purchase, and you're on your way. We'll make it very, very easy. So I believe next slide is, I believe we go, yes, sir. So, all right, so now I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Bill Van Tassel, who's one of our subject matter experts, and he's going to start walking you through some of the exciting things that we've added to the How to Drive 15th edition. Bill?
Hey, thank you, Mike, and welcome everyone. And thanks for spending your Friday afternoon with us to talk about the revised curriculum. I have the honor of being president of ADTSEA, and as you can imagine, it's been a pretty busy time getting ready for this year's virtual conference. A big shout out to the Highway Safety Services team. They've done an incredible job, and we're looking forward to a wonderful conference. And this is one of the pre-meetings of the conference. At the AAA National Office, because of our members, we're fortunate to be provided with the resources to do a major curriculum update. If we didn't have members, we would not have this curriculum. So if you're a AAA member, to start, thank you. You actually make all of this possible. And we're excited to expand our partnership with ADTSEA on curriculum materials. We've been partnered for, gosh, since at least 2012, and actually before then on some other products. So it's exciting to take the next step there. We did obtain a lot of input from instructors on the front end, asking questions at ADTSEA conferences and other conferences. And as soon as we'd finish talking, I'd go back and scribble down my notes on that. So thank you for the input from everybody who we've talked with over the past couple of years to and let us know what you'd like to see in a curriculum. And there's really been two main areas of effort on our part, upgrading the content, or the what's in the program, and raising the level of engagement and interaction for students, and that'd be the delivery, or the how, if you will. And before we get into the what, the actual content, let's take a look at a couple ways we have worked to increase students' engagement in the curriculum. So here's just a sample of one of the many new videos that have been integrated into the curriculum. So we'll get this show rolling. So that should buff right out. It's a pretty dynamic demonstration, and we've included that so instructors, if they want, can use that to support classroom discussions about the highway transportation system, particularly the vehicle as a component of the HTS. So in this instance, we partnered with Volvo Cars US to use this video. And we also partnered with many other companies for additional videos, and you'll see more of those during the presentation. So next, here is an example of a more interactive exercise, which we call Snap Drive. And this is designed to help new drivers quickly read the road, get a sense of what's going on around them in the traffic environment very quickly. So a traffic scene is displayed, and then students are asked to respond on what they see and what they think is important. So, but to mirror the reality that we as drivers have to do this very quickly, these images are presented only briefly and then they disappear. After the image is blacked out, then the students are asked, okay, what did you see? What was in this traffic environment? So let's do one. It'll start with a countdown, and then the image is presented tachiscopically. The screen will go dark, and then we can actually do this live using your chat function here in Zoom. Just type in what you saw in this particular scenario. Okay, Rich, let's do the countdown. Okay, so using your chat function, should be able to do that at the bottom of your screen. Why don't you just type in what you saw in that image. Chevron sign, red truck on shoulder. Disabled truck on shoulder, vehicle on left shoulder, right, good. In front of red truck, okay, disabled red car, white car, wow, great, okay. All right, so if you click the screen again, then the image reappears, so you can use this for classroom discussion, and it stays up for as long as you want before you can move to the next one. So yes, we do have a driver, a vehicle stopped on the left shoulder, but did you see that the driver was actually standing on the right front tire right along the traffic lane? It's kind of hard to see. Again, it was very short, trying to make this realistic. And just think what would happen if this driver actually touched something hot in the engine compartment or was suddenly shocked by an electrical component. Where do you think his body would be flying in just a second? Right in front of you. right? Kind of scary. So these are the types of things that are built into the program to help new drivers sort of accelerate their skills in reading the road before they actually get behind the wheel. We'd much rather them learn that skill in the classroom through this type of exercise than have to learn it the hard way out in the real world. So we've got about 60 of these snap drive scenarios built throughout the program. Another example or series of exercises we've created is the BAM, what we call the BAM cam exercises. And the goal of this is to review videos of actual teen crashes and have the students do sort of a crash analysis, assessing the root cause of the crash. What actually caused the crash? What did the driver do or not do that contributed to the crash? And then have students identify actions they could take to prevent them having a similar experience once they're driving on their own. So let's take a look at one here. It's a short video, about 12 seconds. Okay, so there may be a little bit lag through Zoom, but it's a very, very smooth, full video when played through the actual curriculum. Now, this young lady was distracted and she was actually eating while she drives into this poor guy's lawn. Can we watch that one more time, Rich? Now watch her on the left. She slides into the lawn. She's stuffing food into her face even before her car stops. So she is very dedicated to whatever she's eating. We think it's probably Five Guys French fries. I mean, what else would be that good that you have to eat it while you're in the process of crashing? So the sequence here is the notes that we've provided, or suggested notes for instructors is, okay, what happened? And then we talk about why. Well, she was distracted. She wasn't in control of her car. We had some snow, so the road conditions may have been a little bit slick. They were very likely wet, and perhaps she might have been going just a little fast to try and make that turn. She may have hit the brakes harder than she needed to and lost traction on the front tires, understeering off into the guy's yard. And then the last part is sort of, okay, well, how to prevent that? So in terms of what could you do not to experience this yourself? Okay, I'm talking about looking ahead and not being distracted and managing speed, considering the environment, driving to conditions, et cetera, et cetera. So the source of these videos is a company called Lytx, L-Y-T-X, formerly known as DriveCam, and AAA got lucky. We have exclusive use of these videos for educational purposes. I think we got about 50 or 55 of these throughout the course. They're all very short, 12 seconds. So it's about 6 seconds before the event and 6 seconds after downstream. As you can see, we have both inside and forward view cameras. And in these videos, nobody gets hurt. There's no blood and guts. We wouldn't have been allowed to have those, and we wouldn't have used them even if we had. But there are some dramatic scenarios. In fact, we'll show you an actual rollover crash later in the demonstration here. So, you know, we really cannot put teens in these types of real world situations during our behind the wheel training and driver education. But maybe the next best thing is showing actual teens getting into trouble because of their actions and behaviors. So the goal here is to help students apply what they are learning in the driver education course and prevent them from experiencing these same sort of situations, again, while they're driving on their own. These videos mainly come from a study that was done by the University of North Carolina Highway Safety Research Center. Dr. Arthur Goodwin was one of the primary people there. He's presented at ADTSEA. The North Carolina contingent knows him quite well. They do great work there, so yay, North Carolina. Some of the other videos we have, these drive cams show drivers falling asleep, drivers that are speeding, many that are tailgating and then end up smashing into the rear of the car ahead, and all sorts of examples of looking away from the road or violating that rule of 2, where if you look away from the road for 2 seconds, you roughly double your chance of a crash. So if we move back to the what, if you will, the actual content. The program's content has been completely revised and integrating the latest information and research from sources such as NHTSA, AAA's Foundation for Traffic Safety, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, Transportation Research Board, and more, even some international research organizations like Monash in Australia. So we collected the latest research on all the various topics. And our main goal was to meet ADTSEA's recently updated national standards for content. And so we have done that. And if you ever have gone onto the ADTSEA website and opened up the national standards document and looked at the ADTSEA content standards, you'll understand why we took a lot of coffee was needed for us to do that, because those are very detailed. So just some examples of content that was expanded was distracted driving. So greatly expanded the content on cognitive distractions, the latest onboard infotainment centers, for example, systems rather, lots of research there in the past couple of years. We've added the Dutch reach, which is a way of opening your door wherever you're seated in the car only slightly and looking upstream before you actually open the door wide for any approaching bicyclists. And it's kind of strange because over the past couple of years, as we've been revising the curriculum, that was the #1 topic that we received question about. Will you be talking about the Dutch reach in the program? I mean, every other week somebody was asking us about that. Yes, fine, we will definitely do that. We created some additional graphics to help with that. The whole issue of vulnerable road users, cyclists, it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue. It's important to driver education. It's important to NHTSA. So we couldn't release it without that content. So we have, of course, a great deal of content on other vulnerable road users, such as pedestrians and motorcyclists, far more than we've ever had. We also have more content on drugged driving, particularly the effects of opioids and driving while impaired by marijuana, cannabis. We have new content on safe traffic stops. So what new drivers should do and should not do when they get pulled over. And slow down, move over laws. So if there's an emergency vehicle, whether it's an ambulance or an emergency roadside vehicle stopped along the road ahead, either slowing down or switching lanes if you can do so safely. The actual laws vary a little bit from state to state, but generally the concept is the same. Let's not run into people stopped on the road, on the side of the road. So we address that. Also how to help prevent leaving children and or pets in unattended vehicles. We've already heard this summer instances of, unfortunately, children and pets being killed in cars as they were mistakenly left inside, and the cars heat up very quickly, unfortunately. So I'll come up with some strategies to help prevent that. And then vehicle technology. That's actually a huge part of our program. In fact, a brand new chapter on that. We also have enhanced content on driving environments. So instructors told us, hey, we could use more in the program about driving in snow, driving in the city, driving in rural environments, driving out in sandstorms, mountains, and those types of environments. So that was greatly expanded. Much more content on sleep, and not just drowsy driving, but the impacts of lack of sleep generally, not just falling asleep behind the wheel, which is extremely likely for teens. We know the youngest drivers are at great risk, but also how the lack of sleep affects their other driving safety, their ability to perceive the environment, to search effectively, to make good decisions, to identify things and predict what could happen next, and even execute the maneuvers that they need to. We added content about sharing the road with large trucks. As you may know, there's a big campaign on that right now. Large vehicles, actually, not just trucks. Buses, large buses as well, city buses and the like. We also added content on vehicle defects and recalls. That's a very important issue to NHTSA. If you go on their website, you're very likely going to come across something about the vehicle. defects and recalls. So we partnered with them using some of their resources on helping people monitor their vehicles, not only when they purchase them, but checking maybe twice a year for defects and recalls. Easy to do, but most people don't do that. So we're helping NHTSA get the message out that, hey, a good rule of thumb, every time the time changes, daylight savings time, just hop in your VIN and see if there's any updated recalls on your vehicle. Then, of course, we got updated content on all the traditional core areas: space and speed management, alcohol impairment, traffic control devices. There's been some developments there. Eco driving, trip planning, all the usual suspects that are core to a driver education program and that states are right to require, and that are in ADTSEA's content standards as well. So we're pleased that How to Drive is the only curriculum to meet ADTSEA's latest content standards. So we're excited about that. And I'm going to hand it over to Rich Chittister, our lead instructor, to share some of the other interactive training exercises that we've built in the program beyond what I just showed you in the Snap Drive and the BAMCam. Those are just the start of some of the dynamic exercises we've built in that you can use if you like. So Rich, I think first up is the target zone series of exercises.
Sure, thank you, Bill, and welcome everyone to the conference pre-session. I hope everyone is well and feeling good and strong, and I gotta say, it is really nice to see your smiling faces, most of you, in the video chat. It's when you're stuck at home for a while, it is nice to see some other faces. So again, thank you for joining. In addition to all the stuff we're adding, one of the things we've built into is a proprietary piece called target zones. And the goal of this is develop student skills and knowing where to look in a given traffic scenario. So your students will identify specifically where to look in real life traffic situations. You as the instructor will lead a discussion about what to be looking at, what can be safely ignored, and anticipating what other road users might do next. So let's give a couple of them a try here. Everyone, I'd like you to make sure your chat functions are on. In this scene, using your chat function, please select the zone or zones where you should mainly focus your searching. So what zone or zones here would you mainly want to focus your searching? Go ahead and enter them in your chat now. Make sure you're, there we go, 11, 7, 12, 3. Oh, you guys are on point. I love working with professionals. Someone's just you need to be looking at it all. Great. Yeah, you guys are awesome. So in this scene, we actually selected zone 7 here. Now, 6, 5, all this could be falling rocks as well as the other side. So it's definitely room for more discussion. But again, main focus of where you're searching is what we're looking for. Wow, that was interesting. Let's try another one. Again, using your chat. In this scene, please select the zone or zones where you should mainly focus your searching. Go ahead and in your chat function, fill it in. 7, 11, 12, all of them, 1, 2, 3, 1. See, now some of you just punch in numbers. Thank you, Harold. Good job. Excellent, excellent. Well, here is actually kind of interesting. So definitely zones 1 and 2 up in the top. Now, being a motorcyclist, and I know many of you are, including Brett also, this is also an area of concern, but being a good motorcyclist, I would have seen this and prepared for it well ahead of time. So, but again, definitely should require some attention. Within the program, your students will actually, you're going to see 2 sets of this. So the first set, you'll just go through them, and then your students will actually enter them in the student workbook right here on where you see on the left-hand side of the screen. So your students will write their answers, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, what zone or zones should they fill in for each one? And each one will be numbered. And then you can see we've provided over on the instructor guide your comments for discussion. So we're giving you all the information you need to present this to your students. So again, the workbook, and then this is the instructor guide. And we're going to dive into these just a little bit more as we go through the rest of the program. All right, well, let's get down to some business here. The How to Drive 15th edition has 4 major components. The first is the instructor guide. You will need the instructor guide to navigate through the course. A couple of people have tried looking at, just one piece of the 4-component program, and it doesn't work. Everything works together. So again, the instructor guide is key to delivery. When you purchase the instructor guide, you will get the downloadable PowerPoints. Now, these are completely revised. They are not the old version of the PowerPoints. These are highly engaging, interactive, dynamic. It is not a bunch of words appearing on a screen. We've all been in these presentations. We've seen them, and that's not what PowerPoint was intended for. So we have taken it to the next level. Now, it does require a lot of instructor involvement and engagement with the student. Beyond the PowerPoint, we have a fully revised textbook. And as you can see, we went through great lengths to get our photos. Over on the right-hand side, this was not shot in the state of Florida. If it was, I am leaving town because it's just not right. That's one of the reasons I moved here from the north, was to get away from that kind of weather. But when we're on the road, we're actually taking photos wherever we go, and we try and incorporate the best we can into our products. And then our workbook, and certainly not the end trail, if you will, of the program. This was something prior to development. We asked instructors, what do you want? And overwhelmingly, it was a workbook. We need something that we can engage with our students. So we have provided that. This workbook is highly engaging, flows right along with the program. We've built in stops within the program to remind you as the instructor to go to the workbook. So if a workbook exercise comes up, typically you'll see a workbook slide come up on the PowerPoint, and that will prompt you to go to that workbook. Now, before we go too deep, there is one overarching concept distributed throughout the program, and that is our read the road concept. So very quickly, it's right speed for right now, eyes up, brain on, anticipate their next move, and then leave a big donut of space around your vehicle. Now, we have incorporated this all throughout the program. It's something you can use to express key safety factors as you progress throughout the entire program. Now, if we can get students to do one thing and read the road properly, we've accomplished a great deal. It may not be everything they need, but let's face it, we all know it is a great start to going on the road of getting our teens to be safer drivers. All right, moving on, we have our instructor guide. Now, did I miss a page? No, okay, sorry. I lost my place. With the instructor guide, you'll notice that it's really designed for student engagement. So everything is poised as a question. So what types of roads could you be driving on? This is something that you will ask your students. Your students can fill in these bullet points underneath. And if they miss them, then you have the extras. Or if they fill them all in, great job. You guys are all on. Let's move on to the next question. Now, if you're looking at different timings and you say, maybe I don't have enough time to deliver every one of these as a question, you can certainly deliver them on a more lecture style. So you can pose the question or pose it and answer it for them. So what kinds of surfaces would you find yourself driving on? Well, there's concrete, asphalt, gravel, dirt. Similar to that, instead of extracting that information from the student. Also within the instructor guide, you will notice two different types of videos. So we have an embedded video, we have our DVD, and then we have embedded videos. So the DVDs or streaming video is marked off by module, segment, and runtime. Whereas our embedded doesn't have any of that. They're actually built right into the program. So you're familiar with our DVD and our streaming if you're using our product. If not, it's something you can purchase. And then here's an example of an embedded video that we added to the program. And these are right into the PowerPoint. You don't have to do anything. So let's take a look at this one. So we've added over 100 videos into the PowerPoint. So there's a massive amount of resources in here. You won't be able to use them all in your program. So you will have to go through it before you use it and figure out what portions of it you're going to need to meet your state needs or your specific needs. All right. So guys, we are just slightly ahead of schedule. Bill, do you want to keep going or do we want to run our break? You're on mute, Bill. You're on mute.
Thank you. Yeah, why don't we keep going for a few more minutes, then we'll take a little break.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Within the instructor guide, it's all broken into headers. So you'll see 1.3, facts about teen driving. Now with this, we've built a launch pad into the PowerPoint. So you'll see the little launch pad button here that says facts about teen driving. Well, when you click this little button here, it will actually take you to that specific slide within the presentation. And I've put together a quick demo of what that launch pad looks like. Now I built this specifically for the program for this presentation. So let's say I wanted to go to my specialty features. I click my button here and it takes me right to the slide of where my specialty features start. If that wasn't where I wanted to go, I can go right back to my launch pad by clicking the upper left-hand corner. All the slides are programmed to go right back to the launch pad with that, no matter where you are in the program. So if I wanted to go see my snap drives, I can go there, and I get into my snap drive and I said, oh, well, I only want to do one right now. I can go right back to my launch pad and start with the next section that I need. So we're trying to make it very easy, very user-friendly. Some people have asked, how do you do this so we can set up specialized training should you need it? My recommendation is I'm a clicker. So just go in and start clicking, you'll see. So from here, I can click and I can go right back to my Launchpad from anywhere in the program. So it's kind of a neat function. And again, we've built it for you to allow for maximum flexibility. Pardon me. So our student workbook, engaging lesson-related exercises and quizzes. We can't say enough. We spent a great deal of time building this workbook to really get the student involved. Those of you who have done training with me have heard me use the phrase, do the do. So we know, research shows, that if you can get students to write things down and do something, it will actually help commit that information to memory. Well, that's what we're trying to accomplish here with the workbook. Really keep that student involved and engaged and keep their mind working throughout the whole program. Here's an example. In our instructor guide, you can see we have a pre-assessment quiz at the beginning of every chapter. And then over here on the right-hand side, those students will actually enter the answers to those pre-assessment quizzes right into the workbook. And that's in the same spot throughout the chapters. And again, it's just that extra involvement and engagement. Additionally, we've added an interview with an experienced driver. These are 13 questions designed to engage both the student and the parent in the learning to drive process. We know that's important. Talking with an experienced driver, preferably the parent, we know can provide the student with an even broader perspective about the whole learning to drive process, mistakes that they have been made, and maybe how some things have changed over the years. So it's a very important piece. We've also added a family frequently used vehicle inventory sheet or exercise. The students here will go to their vehicle and do an inspection of not only what technology is in that vehicle, but also tire pressures and some basic inspection things. This was something I did with my son when he started driving, and it stuck. It really stuck. He's very nitpicky about tire pressure. And, you know, maybe it's because dad's an instructor, I don't know, but so far he's done pretty good. Now, within that student workbook, we have added a parent coaching guide. When you purchase a computer or an appliance, you get that quick start guide. I remember my first Gateway computer. It had the sheet that you could actually tack right on the wall to figure out how to plug it in because I was computer stupid. Well, we're trying to do that without actually calling people stupid. So we've given them a startup guide. Within this, we give some do's and some don'ts for the parent. So this is actually a tear out piece from the workbook that the students can have, or the parents can have in hand when they go on a driving lesson with their student. We've given some basic lesson plans, and this is basic. This is not all inclusive. One of the things we talked about as a team creating this was, well, how far do we go? And because otherwise, if we get to a point where we have to start training parents how to do all this, well, that's a whole nother class. So these are just some tips and tricks to kind of get them over the hump. We've all had those students and those parents where the parent says, nope, I am not getting in the car with them until they've done driving time with the driving instructor. And we all know what that does to our central or to our nervous system and you know, makes our hair fall out and all that fun stuff. It's an interesting job we do, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. So this again is for the parents. And we've included a driving log with this also. Pardon me. Within this, the parents can add all the driving information, and downloadable information is available. More of these are downloadable on our driver training website. So now I'd like to pass it over to Dr. Bill, and he's going to give us a little insight and talk a little bit more about how we've expanded the content related to vehicle technology.
I'll be sharing a little bit about the vehicle technology elements that we've built into the How to Drive curriculum. This was actually the largest area of increased content in the entire curriculum. And we cover all the latest technologies: lane keeping assistance, adaptive cruise control, automatic emergency braking, dynamic driving assistance, the works. That also includes blind spot detection and backup cameras, automated parking, rear cross traffic alert, and even automatic crash notifications. In fact, there's over 90 different technologies covered, in part because ADTSEA's national content standards are very thorough in vehicle technologies. So a couple of years ago, NHTSA stepped up and provided the resources for ADTSEA to update just that section of its curriculum standards for curriculum content standard vehicle technology. And they were very thorough. And so it was a good bit of work to put that in there. My guess is no instructor would use all of that content. There's just so much there, but whatever you want to cover should be there at an easy to use fashion for you, or perhaps even whatever your students are interested in covering. Perhaps you would want them to suggest a couple of vehicle technology topics. We still cover some of the basic technologies that have been around for a while, like anti-lock braking systems. We still cover electronic stability control and tire pressure monitoring systems, for example. New drivers still need to know some of those basic technologies because almost all cars they're going to be driving are going to have those. The vehicles they have initially may not have the most advanced technologies, say like automatic emergency braking. Your training vehicles in your driving school may not even have much of that, but it's probably still good for the new drivers to know about those as well. But we don't just cover the technologies and kind of leave it at that. We also go fairly deep into why it's so important to know your vehicle's technologies. So for the benefits of technologies to actually be gained, we need three things. So we need, Rich, can you jump to the next slide? Thank you. We need technologies that work on the vehicle. We need drivers who understand the technologies. And third, we need drivers who understand them to actually use them correctly. That is, to use them safely and effectively. Otherwise, all this great stuff, all these wonderful technologies won't result in a safety benefit. So we've got a couple points where things could go wrong or not be completely fulfilled. And in some cases, there's even a risk of a net decrease in safety, particularly, for example, if someone is over-relying on a particular technology or doesn't understand a particular technology and thinks it'll do something that it actually won't, that could be really bad. So in that first area, the technology that works, we're fortunate at AAA to have a separate automotive engineering team that tests vehicle technologies. And they do all sorts of fun stuff. They've rolled cars into lakes and had a firefighter inside the vehicle try and use the emergency window braking tools to get out of the car and cut the safety belt and whatnot. That's pretty cool. The rest of us are sitting back at the office working in cubicles, and they're out at the lake having a good time. In the past, they've set things on fire. They've busted up a whole bunch of cool stuff, but they've also tested some of the more modern vehicle technologies. And so what we have here is video of some of the testing results for just one of those technologies. And this is a test of automatic emergency braking systems. So these systems are designed to detect objects ahead of the vehicle. So the vehicle is moving. It might be a pedestrian, might be another vehicle, but particularly pedestrians, because we know that vehicle pedestrian crashes are just so dangerous to the pedestrians, particularly as the speed goes higher. So there were 5 different vehicles that were tested, 5 different manufacturers with automatic emergency braking. So we're going to play this video for you, and you might find that what you see here differs just a little bit from what you've probably seen on television in advertisements from the vehicle manufacturers. So Rich, let's play that.
Share the screen. I cannot see the video.
Okay. So obviously we did use human drivers for the testing, but we did not use human pedestrians. So we used dummies, And these dummies are about $5,000 each. And they're either full adult size or child size, as you can see. And they are about, well, basically the same radar signature as a human, as a real human. So these vehicles should have detected them probably better than they did. So what you saw there was these dummies getting mowed over pretty frequently. And even at just 20 miles an hour, the vehicles avoided a collision only about 4 out of 10 times. Now, when they encountered a child that darted out from between cars on the side of the road, a crash occurred 9 out of 10 times. When the car made a right turn and then encountered immediately a pedestrian, a collision occurred every time. All the vehicles hit the pedestrian. Grandma went down 100% of the time. When the vehicles were approaching 2 adults just standing along the road, it hit them 8 out of 10 times. And when the speed was raised to just from 20 just 30 miles an hour, the pedestrian was hit every time. 100% smacked. We also tested these at night. And at nighttime, these were completely ineffective. The pedestrians were hit every time. Now, when do most vehicle pedestrian collisions occur? At night, right? So if there's any time of day you want these things to be working as best they can, it would be at night, and they don't work at all, according to our testing. So overall, these systems' performance was pretty poor. It was about 40% at best. Now, these were all brand new 2019 vehicles. So this was the best you could get at the time. All these vehicles were brand new. And we showed the results to the manufacturers. We met with them, and I was surprised to hear that the manufacturers sort of nodded their heads and like, yeah, that looks about right. We were talking to their engineers. And they're like, yeah, we're working on that where the next generation will be a lot better. And we're like, oh my gosh, but that's not what you're showing on TV on your commercial. And they're like, yeah, sometimes the marketing folks get out ahead of the engineering a bit. So 40% at best. So is that a passing grade? Gosh, I think even in today's schools, 40% is still an F. So this is one reason why it's so important to know that your vehicle will and won't, what it will and won't actually do to avoid over-relying on a vehicle's technology. So for those interested in seeing more about this, if you go to the AAA Newsroom website, AAAnewsroom.com, and search the safety archives, the video should be available. This is actually our second test of this. And I understand that early next month, so early August, the automotive engineering team will be releasing another set of test results. So we're hoping that they'll be a lot better. So please stay tuned, and perhaps, Brett, that might be an opportunity if we have some continuing education credit webinars from ADTSEA later in the year. Perhaps we'll have an updated technology.
Yes, we will definitely have additional webinars available following the virtual conference. So that would be a good one. And Bill, one of the questions was, is the research available somewhere?
Right. So what is available on the AAAnewsroom.com site. Okay. So at the top of that site, you'll see a safety tab. Click that. Then click on Safety News Archive. It's all the foundation's research and all the other surveys that AAA does. It's there, and we update that pretty regularly. So, all right, so pretty exciting stuff. The technology, it's such a big part of driving nowadays. It's kind of interesting. I was riding with an employee of NHTSA a couple of years ago, and this person had just gotten a new Hyundai, one of the top level Hyundais, had all the latest technology. And I said, well, how do you like it? And this person responded, oh, I just turned most of it off. It's really annoying. Like, oh, this person really, I think, may not have taken the time to open the owner's manual and actually read about the technologies. maybe this person did, and it's just extremely annoying. But they are designed to help, but we as drivers have to use them correctly to gain the benefits there. So I was talking with an engineer who developed some of these things. He was at Texas A&M University, and we were at a conference. I was sitting next to him, and I told him about some of the results we were finding. He's like, yeah, I just don't understand it. These drivers aren't using these systems the way I design it. I'm having to go back and redesign everything. Just shaking my head going, yeah, humans can overcome anything and work their way through anything. So you really need to account for human behavior and psychology instead of just expecting humans to use it exactly how you say. We've probably all seen the articles about certain vehicles made in California that were involved in crashes because drivers were in a mode that promotes sort of self-driving, a self-driving vehicle, but doesn't really. And they, in some cases, perhaps over-relied on the technology to do the driving for them. Some even falling asleep and expecting the car to drive them to their destination, no problem. One driver even was pulled over in a level 2 car, which basically takes care of your sideways movement, lateral, and your forward space and speed. And he had been drinking. And the officers did a sobriety test. He failed and said, but it's okay. I wasn't actually driving. I was just riding in my car. So it's okay. Cops didn't buy that. So he was prosecuted. So we have some more examples of the how, if you will, the delivery side of things. Again, one of our main goals was to make this very interesting and interactive and engaging. So I will ask Rich to show some more there. These are some of the examples of what you've already seen some of these, seen the BAMCAM videos on the left, the target zone lower right. We have built, you'll see in the lower left, this is a multitasking demonstration the instructors can use if they want to help students understand that they cannot actually multitask, that they can't do two things at once, that their brain is actually switching back and forth very quickly between the tasks, and the performance on both tasks tends to go down. So we built 3 or 4 of these, 5 or so into the program, sort of leading up along the way to the distracted driving chapter. So that by the time the instructor the whole class gets to the distracted driving chapter, but that's not the first time that students are sort of learning stuff about themselves and how their brain works and whether they can multitask or not. That's sort of setting a foundation for deeper discussions about distracted driving, focusing maybe more on solutions than addressing the entire topic of multitasking only in that one spot. So again, it's optional. Instructors can use that along the way. And then the upper right here, you'll see an example of a PowerPoint-based sort of a flippy game. Rich, I don't know if we have this activated. We do. Okay, so Rich is going to demonstrate this rather nifty PowerPoint quiz that you could use in the classroom, either student by student, individually, or perhaps even in groups. Rich, take it away.
Great, thanks, Bill. So some of you, if you attended the ADTSEA conference a year or 2 ago, you may have been exposed to this. We got a lot of traction with it, excuse the driving related pun, but people really, hey, what can I say? People really liked it. So this is an exercise where for the preparation side of it, you're gonna divide your students into groups, typically. And then you're going to ask those students, so I'm going to put you in the student role, and we can use our chat function to answer the questions. So you've probably been riding in vehicles for years. Let's see what you've picked up along the way about the meaning of various signs. So here are a few sample signs that you will see along the road. For each sign, that group will answer the question. The one who answers the most wins. Now, for this purposes, no one's going to win a prize unless you want to roll a toilet paper or something. But if you guys can just answer with your chat, and we'll start with the upper left-hand sign. So using your chat function, go ahead and drop in your chat function what that sign is. Upper left, lane added lane, very good. Lane, ooh, we got a merging lane. Got a lane added. This is definitely not a merge. This is definitely a lane added sign. So all you're going to do as the instructors, you'll click on the sign. It'll flip over to what it is. And then you click it again and it can go back to the sign. So how about the second one in from the left across the top? What's that sign tell you? Go ahead and enter it in your chat really quick. Oh, type faster. It should be pretty easy. There we go. Yield to right lane, U-turn. Very good. So yield to the vehicle starting right after starting your U-turn. How about the next one to the right of that, the blue sign? What is that one? Go ahead and enter in your chat. What is that? Oh, excellent. Oh, we've got some sharp ones. Railroad. Very good. This is actually from the railroads. And upon doing a lot of research regarding, railroad content, I wasn't aware at the very beginning or never really noticed that these are at every railroad crossing, just in case there's an emergency. So to tell you, it's to report a problem for the railroad crossing. And how about the far right one on the top right? So what is that sign? Go ahead and answer for me in your chat, please. Left lane ends, left lane ends. Gotta love it. Merge right, left lane ends. You guys are awesome. Okay, center row, left-hand side. First one, go ahead and answer. Center left. Center row, first one on the left. Move over law, move over law. Excellent, excellent. And every state now does have a move over law. AAA and American Towman were instrumental in getting this included for all of our towing fleets as well. We lose far too many towing folks every single year, and it's just people not paying attention. So very good. How about the next one to the right of that? Go ahead and answer. Sharp line curve. Great job, Brad. Harold, Angela, very good. Sheila, great. I do love working with the pros. Makes my job real simple. So, how about the next one to the right of that? Let's go ahead, quick, answer in your chat for me. Center lane, bike lane, bike lane. Harold, great. David, awesome. Sheila, Donna. Dorinda, and if I said that wrong, I apologize. Antonio, Arnold, excellent, excellent, excellent. Drive in the left lane, that's the bike lane. Very good. All right, how about the next one? This one should be easy. Carpool lane. Excellent, 2 or more occupants depending on what state you're in. All right, at the very bottom, the bottom left sign. Guide sign. Can someone tell me something specific about that sign? A1A, it's an exit sign. I need more. Come on, come on. Who knows it? Interstate, interstate. Something very specific. Ah, wait. Was it Sheila? Sheila, very good. You get the prize for that one. It is exit on the left. And that's because this little sign up here is on the left side. That means it will be a left exit. You'd be surprised how many people do not know that. All right, bottom, second sign in from the left. Should be real simple, kind of tells you. Maintenance, very good. Okay, about to drive over steel plates. Again, being a motorcyclist, this is something that will really, really shake you up if you're not careful. All right, third one in on the bottom. Railroad crossing ahead, railroad crossing, railroad. You guys are great. Railroad crossing ahead, very good. And certainly last but not least, last one on the right-hand side, bottom right. Road curves, getting there. It's a little bit more. Construction lane curve, chicane. Oh, very good. I don't see too many people use chicane. Must be a race car driver. And it is a lane shift ahead. And in this case, all 4 lanes are shifting left. So this is just one of those exercises that we've built into the PowerPoint. It's already there. All the instructions on how to use it and what each sign is built into your instructor guide. So all you have to do is open it up and start presenting. We try to make it as easy as possible. So we have some additional exercises. And again, we're going to use our chat function for these. And this is something new. We haven't used this before. Bill put this together, and we both looked at it and said, yeah, we could have a lot of fun with this one. So not only do we have road signs, we have lane markings and colors of lanes on roads. So what color? Oh, wait, sorry, wrong exercise. This is a exercise, I got ahead of myself, where we have an image for you that's in black and white. The students will then have to ask, what color is that sign? So in this case, what color is the detour sign on the top? Go ahead and type it in, orange, 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 very good. Okay, how about the stop sign? Oh. So we have the orange and then the white end sign. You click through and then it fades into the color so your students can actually see the color. So let's go ahead and try another one here. On this slide, what is the green sign? Go ahead and type it in. Yeah, sorry, what color is it? Yeah, my bad. And how about this sign way over here on the right? What color would that be? Excellent. Interesting. Green and yellow is definitely what we're looking for. Okay, now with this one. What color is the detour sign on the top? Excellent. How about the stop sign? Go ahead. Very good. Red, red, red. Oh, you guys are all on point with that one. And now the interesting one. How about that bottom round sign? Blue, 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 blue. I love you guys. And again, all 3 of them, they fade into color. We get to have some fun with it. Now, we have road markings as well. So this is, again, something that Bill put together, and we were just like, yeah, let's work this. So what do these green road, what does this green indicate in a road? Go ahead and mark it down in your chat function. Bicycle, 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 white, white, bicycle, bicycle. Folks, you are correct. It is the bicycle lane. Very good, very good. How about this red one? Go ahead and fill it in. A bike, I still see bike. Anyone else? Go ahead and fill it in your chat. Bike lane, bike lane, bike lane. This one is actually, the red is for a bus lane only, and it is red. That pavement is painted red, actually. And I believe we've got one more here. How about this? This would be red, so we're giving you the color. But what does it indicate? Go ahead and type it in your chat function. No parking, no parking, no parking. Bill, professionals are so much fun to work with. I really do enjoy it. And you guys are correct. It is a fire lane, so no parking. So you can take it either way. Funny thing is with fire lanes is when people park in them, the fire department can actually do this. This is an actual pick that we got permission to use. And can you imagine having to call your insurance company over this one? That's not a call I'm going to want to have to make. That is for sure. Now, I did want to show you a few more of our specialty features. We'll start with, and you've seen these, so we're going to go through a few of them. We will use our chat function, guys, to go ahead and answer the questions. So the first one we'll start with is our target zone, and we have a few of them here. So again, for all the target zone scenarios, is you're going to select the zone or zones where you should mainly focus your searching. All right, is everyone ready? How about here? What zone or zones? Go ahead and fill it in your chat function. 7, 9, 10, Brad, Sharon, Dale, Brenda, great. Bill, you're not allowed to play. Wow, you guys are awesome. Yeah, and in this case, we are really looking at 8 and 9. And again, we break it down in the instructor guide for you. But you've got vehicles merging, cars close. I don't trust any of these vehicles, again, being a motorcyclist. How about here? Where should you mainly focus your searching? What zone or zones? Go ahead and answer in your chat. This one's a little harder. We got 7, 3 through 12. Someone's gonna drop something out of the sky. 10, 11, 7, 8. Keep going, Dave. Anyone else? David's the last one. Okay, Agnes, very good. Harold, Brenda. Angela, excellent. You guys are great. And we are 6 and 7 right down the middle. You got cars going the same direction. Any one of these people could open their doors. Little kids could come flying out from the side, dogs, pets, what have you. So very good. And how about this one? This is our another target zone. So what zone or zones do you want to focus your searching on? 5 and 6. Wow, you guys are good. 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. Oh, people are even using punctuation. That's awesome. Guys, it is 5 and 6 is the primary. Now, there may be other things you want to talk about, and that's perfectly fine. For the purposes of what we're doing here today, this is what's been built for the PowerPoint, but that doesn't mean you can't expand on things. Like in this case, I would talk about being from the Baltimore area, how you have to watch out for the tunnel cleaners, because they would run a big giant machine with scrub brushes to clean the sides and roofs of the tunnels through the Harbor Tunnel and the Fort McHenry Tunnel. And I'll tell you what, you come up on one of those things at about 50, 55 miles an hour shooting through the tunnel at night. If you're not prepared for it, it will catch you off guard. So those are just little caveats that you can add for your students, especially if you're in areas where there are tunnels like this. Just you have to add your own user experience. Now, additionally, you guys have seen the snap drives. Bill explained how these are used. You're going to get a quick snapshot image, and then you're going to ask the student, what did they see? What can they do? So we're going to go through a few of these. And again, we're going to focus on what did you see? So if you can take, when the slide comes up, the countdown comes up, you'll see the image. It'll go away. Type in your chat function what you saw, and then we'll discuss. Everyone ready? Give me a head shake for the ones that I can see. Very good. All right. Type in your chat function what you saw. Nobody saw anything? Ah, there we go. See, construction zone, bridge. There we go. Two-way traffic. Orange barrels. Beautiful. And it's all that, and this is actually a really tight space here. You can see you've got a car on the side, a truck and a truck. These are going to get closer together. Someone's going to brake. And these are things we really want your students to be able to pick out. So when they encounter these types of things in their real driving life, they can have a better idea of, hey, this is a problem. These are things I need to look out for. And then the next part of that conversation within the instructor guide is, all right, what can you do? So here you'll prompt your students to slow down a little bit, leave a little bit more space behind that vehicle in front, make that donut just a little bit bigger. Again, getting back to the whole read the road, big donut of space. It can't be expressed enough. And this is one of those ways that you can tie it in throughout the entire program as you go through it. We provide you all the information in the instructor guide. So what's going on here, blah, 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 blah. We give you a whole bunch of information. The next question for that slide is, well, what can we anticipate might happen next? And we give you that information as well. So all of this stuff is provided to you. All you need to do is read the instructor guide. This is not a program that you can just pick it up and go. The instructor guide must be used. Okay, this is not your average driver's ed program anymore. This is definitely a high-end program. All right, let's try another one. Okay, in your chat function, please type in what you saw. Pedestrian bus lane. Come on, who's gonna say it? Streetcar tracks, very good, Robert, you win that one. And again, it was not shot in Florida. I believe this was when, I think Bill and Mike might have been in San Francisco, they took this image.
They wouldn't let Mike back into San Francisco. He's a wanted man in California, so.
Oh, that was the whole light thing, right?
Yeah, that's another story. Yeah, that's another story. Yeah, San Francisco.
We'll get together and talk about that one with y'all guys one day because, yeah, we've got a few.
Or just ask Mike about it.
Yep, he'll be more than happy to tell you. All right, very good. So next we have our driver's Z exercises. And I believe I'm going to turn it over to Bill here, and he's going to talk a little bit about driver's Z.
Right, all right. Thanks, Rich. So what is driver's Z? Well, it's a visually enhanced version of Dr. Don Fisher's program that he's been working on for 25 years. His program is called the Risk Awareness and Perception Training, or RAPT, R-A-P-T. We call it driver's Z, Z-E-D, stands for Zero Error Driving. And that name was previously created by the AAA Foundation, who managed this program before. So this is the fourth edition. So what is it? It's training to help drivers learn where to search, to identify areas where potential hazards can come from, and to acknowledge that and then be ready to respond if that does occur. So Rich, can we throw up one of the scenarios? Oh, this is the title slide there. So we all know new drivers really don't know where potential hazards may come from. They're new to driving. So they're looking at everything, or they're trying to take it all in. They're missing, they haven't yet learned what is important, what to search for and look at, and what is not. For example, a billboard to them is just as important as the car approaching from the right. So we're trying to help them accelerate their ability in this area. So Rich, if you can advance.
Sure. So with the driver's Z, you must use the controls embedded with the program. So here we've got our little start button on the lower right here. So we'll go ahead and click that, and it will take us right in. So in this scenario, you want to locate the area of the scene where you believe you should glance in order to know where the potential hazard might be. So in this scene, using your chat function, can you identify where you'd want to be glancing? What piques your interest in that scene? Ah, the brake lights. Left lane, car in the left. Good, Melissa. Agnes, you saw pedestrians? Okay. Right lane, very good. In this case, you'll click on it and it will tell you that, yes, great job. If you chose the brake lights up here, this is the area that we wanted you to look at. You've correctly identified that potential hazard ahead. So that's the only scenario we built into this one, Bill.
All right.
We can continue moving on through the rest.
Yeah, just in terms of the research behind ZED, why this is here, Dr. Don Fisher has been working on this for so many years. He's actually evaluated it many times and continued to improve it over 3 decades now. And the last study was done in California. It was using an older video-based version. This is all simple PowerPoint. And the video version was found, they tested it with 5,000 teens through California's DMVs, and they followed their crash records, and they found that among males aged 15 to 17, they had an over 20% reduction in crashes for the students who took this compared to those who did not. So very powerful stuff. Now, how they took it was one-on-one in a computer. Now, everybody's been calling for this type of hazard perception training to be in driver education. And so NHTSA's been wanting it in the research community. So we decided, okay, let's build it in and create a classroom usable version for those instructors who want to use this. And it's pretty robust, very powerful. And we thought we don't want to withhold this powerful training from students. If it's that effective, let's just build it right in. And one of the cool things about this is that it sort of adapts to how effective, how accurate the students are with their answers. So if they get it right the first time, they sort of move on to the next question, the next scenario. If they don't get it right the first time, say they pick the silver car to the left of the yellow lines in this scenario we're looking at now, that would not be where they should be searching. So they give them another chance. So they get 2 or 3 chances before basically they're given the answer. If they have 3 shots and they miss all 3, said, okay, that's not their best scenario. Well, let's give them the answer and we'll move to the next scenario as well. So very powerful stuff. We pilot tested this with a couple of driving schools, and turns out that students were very engaged in this. That was one of the questions we had, is will students like this and pay attention? They did, and they tested a few ways. What they found was that when students were grouped in pairs, so teams of 2, that worked really well. And they would basically go around to move among the various groups there, sort of in a competition there. And these schools, actually, we didn't even ask them to do this. They said, oh, we created a way of scoring this. So we gave them 3 points if they got it right the first time, 2 points if they got the second chance, and 1 point if they got it the third, and 0 if they didn't get it at all, that sort of thing. And the students were just leaning in. They were pretty excited. Now, if you were to do this entire program all at once, it would be anywhere from 45 minutes to 90 minutes. But we didn't want to force instructors to do the whole chunk at one time. So we actually distributed this program, the scenarios, throughout the driver education, the curriculum. So in each chapter, there's just a couple scenarios there. So it doesn't take long in any chapter. It's sort of a nice break as you transition from one subtopic to another. And these driving schools that pilot tested, they just use the same paired teams throughout the entire program. So we're very, very pleased to be able to create this. We work directly with Don Fisher and his team to bring it in. Brett may have some additional comments or justification and support of including RAPT in a driver education program that he might share at some point. But we're pleased to be the first driver education program to provide this for instructors these scenarios to use. And already we've been getting calls from researchers. Hey, you're going to have a version we can use for research. And we're like, yeah, let's chat. Working with just this week, got a call, setting up a call with a research group in Scotland who wants to use this. I don't know, Rich, I guess that means we'd have to flip the image so that the cars are driving on the left side of the road or something, but that could be.
I'm not making that modification.
Okay. All right. Yeah, fair enough. All right. Rich, I think we've got a couple more BAM cams to show.
We do.
And before we sort of get into some of the, for those who want this, how do you get it information? So Rich, do you want to run through, show them a couple more BAM cam exercises?
Sure do. Thanks, Bill. So like Bill mentioned, we have the BAM cam videos. We saw a couple of one of these earlier with the girl eating the French fries, and those must have been some pretty tasty fries to eat them after the crash. I know I wouldn't have been able to. So we've seen the snap drive, the driver's Z, the target zone, and guys, this is really scratching the surface of what is in the program. So as you go through the instructor kit, you'll see these exercises, but additional exercises, all of which are typically either embedded into the PowerPoint or integrated into the student workbook. And then there's extra stuff, optional stuff within the instructor guide that isn't in either one of them. So you're going to go through this and be like, oh, I like that. And well, I'm not going to use that, but I might use it later. So that's why it's really important to go through this and really understand what it is and what's in it. So with the BAM cams, we have over 50 authentic videos. For each video, again, the instructor will lead a crash reconstruction discussion. Again, what's going on before the crash, what errors did the driver commit, and what could have been done to prevent this crash. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of these. Let's see if technology is going to work. All right, hopefully everyone can see the video. Look down, look down. Uh-oh. Now, I'm not the one who has to explain this to the kid's mom, but he's going to have to, and, as they're picking the dirt and gravel out of the rims. But what was going on just before the crash? Go ahead and answer in your chat really quick. Excellent, excellent. Looking down, there was a curve. Whole bunch of things going on here. So very, very good. And you guys are just so on point to notice this. It's what we do. Now, your students may have some different answers. As I showed you before in the instructor guide, we provide you with a list of answers to the 3 questions. Again, those questions are, what was going on before the crash? What errors did the driver commit? And that can kind of tie into what was going on before the crash. And then what could have been done to prevent the crash? And obviously, distraction is a big problem. Alcohol is a big problem. Falling asleep and drowsiness, huge issues. And we address these within these 50 authentic BAM cam videos. Let's take a look at another one. Nice winter drive. Ooh, I wouldn't want to be hanging upside down. I don't know about any of you, but let's go ahead and just with a quick chat. What happened? What was going on here? Yeah, speeding, sure. Too fast for conditions. Absolutely, Arnold. Dale, very good. Yep, excellent. Too fast, too fast, too fast. And anyone who's lived in these environments knows that you cannot go too fast. You never know when it's, and she looks angry. Yeah, Brenda, yeah, she does. So great observations. You'll notice we've noticed a couple other things as we've done this. We have one where there's critters on the back seat, and then there's a crash and the critters disappear. Now, we didn't call it out. One of my students actually called it out, and they got a special prize for calling it out too, because it was during a training. And they're like, hey, did you notice that? And honestly, no, we didn't. So they got a prize for noticing. It's very cool. And again, a way to engage students in a real life scenario. None of this is staged at all.
Well, I would add, Rich, that these exercises, the BAMCAM exercises, can also help new drivers understand key concepts like the fact that snow does not cause crashes. You know, there's ice on the road here, but that's not the cause of the crash. It is her failure to adjust to the driving conditions that cause that. So we hear that, you probably hear that on the news all the time during the winter. Oh, such and such law enforcement department has blamed 20 crashes on the snow and ice. No, that's not it. It's the driver's fault.
Wasn't the snow or ice's fault. I'm gonna stand right with you there, Bill. Just going too fast for conditions, nine out of 10 times.
Yeah, well, it's sort of natural to try and point the finger elsewhere, but really it's up to the driver. If it happens in the car, it's generally.
Our job is to teach them to be responsible and accept the responsibility that, when you drive, these are the things that can happen. We all know this. I'm preaching to the choir here. So, that's right. But it is what it is.
I think that was the last exercise we had, right?
That was.
Yep. Okay. And well, just sort of a few wrap-up comments before we get to some questions. I see some popping up here. We really wanted the curriculum to be easy to use, to be low friction for instructors, to have everything there for you, whether you use everything or not. And our main focus really was to make it as engaging and interactive for students. I mean, the revision took significantly longer than we thought. And the main reason I would say is we were building in all these additional exercises, getting permissions to use certain videos, creating the whole 50 or 60 series of the exercises that you saw, going out in some cases, taking a lot of custom photographs of particular intersections or traffic situations. So that was one of our goals. And of course, to integrate the hazard perception training, the RAPT. Also to apply the latest research into how teens learn. So it's amazing in the last couple of years what has come out in terms of new knowledge about learning, particularly teens learning. So we've been able to apply that research in the programs, concepts like distributed learning, interleaving the content throughout the program, using retrieval practice exercises to help strengthen students' memory of key points. We didn't show you that, but that's built in there. Even having students draw out by hand some traffic concepts. We know that drawing things activates a different part of the brain than writing words or watching videos or talking. And we've also built in a number of optional pre-quizzes and role-playing exercises that you might find useful. Of course, we had to meet the ADTSEA content standards. That was part of the goal well before we ever started talking about any kind of expansion of our partnership together. We're particularly proud of the Tear Out Parent Guide. I don't know if Rich mentioned, but that's a cardstock parent guide in the middle of the student workbook. So as each student receives that, the goal is to have the instructor instruct the students to pull that out of the center and take that home and put it in the car so the parents are ready to use that. We've never seen that before. Again, it's just a quick start guide. It's not nearly everything a parent needs to know, but to help get them started when they may not really know where to start at all in terms of doing effective coaching. And you instructors can tell when the students have been out with their parents between the behind the wheel sessions that you all do, and hopefully this would be one more tool to help parents do a good job and do plenty of it and do the right kind of practice driving between the behind the wheel sessions when they're working with you. We also wanted to make the program very flexible. So, as with any of the exercises in here, the target zone, BAM, CAM, snap drives, if you don't like some of them, don't use them. There's plenty in there. It's really up to you, everything you can use or not use. Or you may want to make different comments. So let's say in one of the target zone exercises with the grid on the screen, that we don't have some comments about a particular zone there that you want to make comments about. Gosh, by all means, add them. Make that comment, create your own comments. Or you see something else that you'd like to highlight, say in a snap drive exercise that you'd like to highlight, go for it. Absolutely, that's already happened. Many of you know Greg Mangan, Drive for Life driving school in Knoxville, Tennessee. I got a call from him about 10 days ago. He said, hey, one of my Eagle Eye students saw a sign in one of the snap drive exercises that you guys didn't have in the curriculum and a bullet point for discussion. And so I told her, gosh, I gave her a candy bar, and I just want to let you know that there's something else to add there if you want to do that, when you revise it and update the program, whatnot. So I said, hey, great, that's fantastic, thank you. And I actually went to the Postal Service a couple days ago and mailed him a candy bar to reimburse him for the one that he gave to the students. So like you mentioned, Rich, little rewards are possible there. So there's really a lot more in there than we think you could use, and that will be one of the things to figure out as you go through it. Hey, I don't like this, or don't feel this is strong, or maybe my state really wants to cover this particular topic more thoroughly, so I want to go through everything and even add more to that topic and beyond what AAA has, but that means I can't spend as much time in this area, and it's not as important. Perhaps for my students, you may make that call, so that's fine. I mean, no mountains in Kansas, so some instructors might say, I'm not teaching mountain driving. Others may say, well, the students are going to be driving in the mountains sometime, even if they live in Kansas now, so I'm going to teach them about mountain driving. Totally your call. It's totally flexible there. So again, we thank you for all the input over the past couple of years that you've given us on what you'd like to see. This is actually the 15th edition of the program. Started in 1935, so it's been going a long time, 85 years, so we're excited about that. And so we'll stop there and see if, I think David Dean on our team is going to be trying to join us to share some information about fulfillment and access to the program. David, have you been able to join us?
I have. Thank you, Bill.
Great.
Yeah, so real simply, I think we might have, yeah, there we go. So this is really meant to be easy for the user. And the idea is if you're an ADTSEA member, you get perks and benefits. And these things will continue to develop as our relationship progresses as well. So the immediate thing you'd have to know is you'd go to ADTSEA.org and log in. And then once you go to ADTSEA, you would be directed to our site where you would have exclusive privileges to packages and offer. They might be seasonal or, again, they'll progress as our relationship continues as well. But it would be exclusive to ADTSEA members. And you don't need to know all the nitty gritty details, but it's simply that. If you're an ADTSEA member, you get perks. And that's the main thing we want to focus on. We want to foster that relationship and make sure that people that go to our website, they might also see these ADTSEA bundles as well and say, that's weird. What's that ADTSEA thing? And it'll encourage them to additionally go back to ADTSEA and learn more about road safety, because ultimately that's what we're all about, is making the road safer. So that's our goal, that's our drive, and the simple concept behind this is go to ADTSEA. You'll be directed to us, and you'll get perks, and that's the long and short of it.
Excellent. So the purchasing is very simple. We've tried to streamline it, like David said. really trying to get people to get there, look at the samples that are there. They're available for free if you're unsure. Additionally, you can reach out to Mike, David, myself, Bill, anyone on our team, and we'll be more than happy to fill you in on any of the details.
Yeah, and another thing to add to that, Rich, we also have a live chat feature, and it's during business hours. If it's after business hours, they get back to you as soon as possible. But if you do have any immediate issues, concerns, or questions, on our driver training website, we have a live chat feature in the bottom right-hand corner. And most of our technicians are trained to answer 99% of your questions. The 1%, they'll direct them to Rich, myself, Bill, or Mike. So either way, we'll make sure you guys are taken care of as quickly and as easily as possible.
Okay. Anything else, Bill, regarding that? I'm good here.
Nope, I think, Brett, did you have anything to add about the arrangement before we open it up to questions?
No, I really don't have anything to add. If you're interested, very quickly, primarily, contact Mike Casey, but otherwise we will have a portal link on the ADTSEA website very soon.
Great, all right. Well, we saw some questions come in, so maybe we could just pick up with some of those, and then we'll address others that come in. So looked like an early one was about the videos and how those are available. So right now the videos are available in two formats, and we're testing the availability of a third. So there's a traditional DVD, so that's been available for since it came out. We also added a streaming option, so you don't have to have a DVD player. You don't have to have a DVD player in your computer, because it's harder to buy a computer with a disk drive in it now. So a lot of customers really like the subscription-based streaming model. So as long as you have web access, you log in, you pick your video, and every single second of video is available that's on the DVD. So easy to get. We have that available for our programs for experienced drivers as well. That's not what this call is about, but pretty much every video we've got is there. And we're also looking at a version where we might be able to, depending on file size, embed the DVD videos into the PowerPoints as well. So that's what we're testing now, and it's looking positive. We haven't gotten the full answers yet. We're testing that now, but we're excited. But right now you got a couple of choices, whatever's easier for you. Let's see, driver Z, looks like there's a question of where is that? Is that on the DVD? Is that in the PowerPoints? And that's actually built right into the PowerPoints. So the PowerPoints are actually downloadable. So when you get hold of the instructor kit, you'll also get a code that will allow you to download the PowerPoints. And so the driver Z exercises are right there. And the additional videos, so the videos that are embedded in the PowerPoint slides, those are new for the 15th edition. So those are not in the DVD. The DVD is the same fixed DVD that has been available in the 14th edition, or with the 14th edition. So video is so expensive, it's about $1,000 a finished minute for video. So that's why we didn't revise the video this time, because it would be that much more expensive to do the revision, and we wanted to keep the costs down for the community. So that'll be occurring down the line at some point. So all those new videos that were added, they're built right in the PowerPoints. You get those when you get the instructor guide. Another question that came in is, are the speaking notes in the instructor guide also in the PowerPoint notes section? And right now they're not. So that's another thing we're testing, and we'd like to see, because we've had a couple of folks express that. It sure would be handy to have kind of everything right there in the PowerPoints. So we're looking at that as well. Looks like that's going to work, just that there's a lot of PowerPoints. So it's going to be a lot. It's not hard to do. It's just going to take a while for us to dump all that in there. So we're looking at doing that, and that would just hopefully be that much more convenient. And hopefully be able to get back with you with news on that soon. let's see, the workbook, saw a question about, is that electronic? Right now it is paper only, so it's printed only. And one of the main reasons is it's a hands-on learning tool for teens. A lot of the exercises, there'd be no way to do those electronically. The things that they draw, the things that they tear out and take home, like the parent guide, certainly, cardstock parent guide, or the interview with an experienced driver and the frequently used vehicle inventory sheet that are take home, fill in, and bring back. There may be a way to do some or most of that electronically, so it sounds like we should be looking into that. So we're open to other approaches, but right now it's a paper-only product, and if we're successful in getting the instructor guide speaking notes into the PowerPoints, in that version, the student workbook would be the only paper portion of the program. Everything else would be electronic if we can work that out. The last question I saw was, hey, if you're a AAA member and an ADTSEA member, do you get a double discount? We're going to have to ask Mike about that. I'm getting nice try. I would like that as well, but I think this is only for
Bill, if I can add one more thing on the workbooks. For those of you who are not opening because of COVID or because you've decided to do kind of a distance learning thing, what we've seen is some schools are actually having their students come by and pick up the workbook. So as the instructor goes through, say, a Zoom meeting with the PowerPoint, just like we have done here today, those students can actually fill in the workbook as they go. They actually have it hands-on. So they were leaving a box of workbooks out in front of their school. The student would come by and pick up one because, well, they probably don't want to pick up more than one. And then they could use that, and the student would actually show the workbook on camera during the presentation, the distance learning presentation with the instructor. Another school was actually mailing that workbook out to the student because of the COVID distancing issue. So it is a usable product even in today's times. Obviously, it was built before COVID, just disrupted all of our lives in some form or fashion. So it can be used. It's definitely encouraged.
Good points. Good points. Saw another question. We had somebody had obtained the program with 2 discs, but didn't see where to get the other videos and whatnot. In the 14th edition, so the older version, when you got hold of the instructor guide, it had 2 discs and a couple discs in there, and those were the PowerPoint. It wasn't the video, so you'd purchase the video, which is also on disc if you buy the DVD. So there's, in the old version, there's DVD discs and there's PowerPoint discs. In the 15th edition, there are no PowerPoint discs. All the PowerPoints are available for download. So that's the way you'd get them for the 15th edition. So any DVDs, any discs that purchased, I'm guessing that that's probably the video, but follow up with us if that doesn't answer your question, maybe right after this, and we'll get you the answer and make sure you get everything that you should have.
Bill, we've got another question. Buying packages for a large number of schools, what type of discount? And that's a question that can be answered by Michael, and you can just shoot him an email and he can give you the bulk discounting pricing.
Right. Unless, David, do you have any info on that, or should that question go directly to Mike?
Yeah, I would just say it's the same thing. You can email it to myself or Mike, and it's on a case-by-case basis. So, let us know, how much you're purchasing, and we'll, make that determination if we could do that or not.
Great.
I'm just scrolling through questions. The binder is very large. Yes. Yes, it is. In the very beginning, we alluded to you cannot, it's bigger than any 30-hour program. It wasn't built for 30 hours. It was built to meet the national standards, which is greater. So you are going to have to pare it down to what you are going to use. And again, is there an electronic copy? I think Bill alluded to that it's something we're looking at.
Yeah, we're testing that now. Another tool we're putting together that some users might find useful is sort of a cheat sheet for trimming it down. So we've had some folks say, hey, can you just kind of create a generic nationwide version? If there's enough there to meet the national standards, which is 45 hours of classroom, which 30 hours should we use? So we're in the progress of creating that right now, and we'll be able to share that. And again, it may not work 100% for every school. It may say, well, AAA is saying, hey, we can talk about this, but maybe this could be left out. You might say, no, we can't leave that out, but it'll hopefully get you started if you want to do that. So certainly by all means, you can drink a lot of coffee and walk through the whole thing, or you can start with that little cheat sheet tool. So we'll have that available in the next probably month or so, maybe sooner.
Okay.
Bill, there was a question that I was interested in also about possibly putting the videos on a zip drive.
So the DVD videos that are normally DVD or streaming?
Yes, yes.
Right, so we're sort of working toward that, meaning we're working toward a version that wouldn't necessarily be immediately on a zip drive, but it would be downloadable. So perhaps the equivalent, depending on what you're plugging into your computer or downloading. So the DVD video streaming version, that's about 3.5 hours. And initially, we were really concerned about the file size. Hey, can we have a downloadable version that has all the PowerPoints, all the driver's ed slides, all the BAMCam, SnapDrive, Target Zone, all that stuff, and 3.5 hours of video? We thought, oh my gosh, the file sizes are going to be just way too big. But we found an expert that is helping us condense the file size without losing any of the fidelity of the video. So it may be that we have in the future, hopefully, a downloadable version. So if you download chapter 1 right now, the DVD or streaming videos are not built into those, embedded in the PowerPoints, but we're looking to have them embedded. So you download chapter 1, you'll have everything, all the videos, every possible element there. So that's what we're working toward. Turns out technologically it might be possible after all, and if it's convenient for the customers, great.
Someone just dropped a plate of dishes.
Gravity check.
Hey, Bill, I
Brett, oh yeah, go ahead.
have a question. We just purchased a kit for Jordan Driving School, and we got the whole kit with the 2 CDs and the workbooks. But I could not see any of the cam videos and stuff within the 2 CDs.
I
Are we
can take
missing
this.
something, or am I looking in the wrong place?
Sure, I can take this one for you. You have to go to the website and download the PowerPoint as well. So the PowerPoint has all the videos, everything I showed, everything we showed today. Those videos are actually embedded into the PowerPoints already. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay for the PowerPoints. You've already paid for those with the purchase of your instructor guide. You should get a code. David, I believe a code is generated when you purchase the instructor guide, and correct me if I'm wrong. You go to there, you download the PowerPoints, and you got it all. You are off and running.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I just got to find the code.
Well, it would be when you made the purchase for the kit, it would be sent in an email. If you don't have an email, that's fine. You can go to our live chat and tell them, hey, I purchased the instructor kit, and I need access to the PowerPoint, and they can give you a PDF that'll give you those instructions as well. So
Perfect.
You should have an email, but if you can't find it, it's no big deal. You can just go to the driver training website and tell our live chat that you need it.
Okay, that solved my whole problem right there.
We'll make sure you are hooked up.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Brett.
All right.
Brett, I know you've been in the middle of all this partnership for a while. Have you heard of any other questions regarding any of this along the last week, 2 weeks, month, whatever? Anything else that you think perhaps folks on the call would like to know about it, or questions you personally have?
It's just like any time you teach from something new, it is going to take some time for you to sit down and go through the materials. And as you saw today, the PowerPoints are very sophisticated. There's ways in which to navigate around to different places depending on what you are covering. So it will take some time to get familiar, just like it does with anything new. So invest that time, learn your way through the materials. As Bill mentioned, it is designed to meet the national standards for 45 hours of classroom. Some of you may need to pare that back to meet shorter times, such as a 30-hour. But the more you work with it, the more you practice, you're definitely going to find it easier to use. There are a lot of slides, so there's definitely a lot to get familiar with inside of the slides. But that's kind of the nice things. Almost everything's embedded, as Rich mentioned. You don't have to go outside of the slides to play shorter videos. Yes, the longer training videos you will need to play from the DVD or the streaming, just because it's not possible to put videos of those sizes on it. But
Yeah, we're working on that.
time.
We're working, right. And I would add, Brett, that this webinar today is more about what's in the program, what is How to Drive, what's the new How to Drive. We also have been conducting for driving schools a number of sort of how to use it webinars, and we're going to continue to do those. And we can do those for schools, we can do those for ADTSEA members, however, like that. But turns out, I don't know, basically we walk through a whole chapter, sort of like it's being delivered in the classroom and everybody participates. And the feedback we've gotten from driving schools is that's a much quicker way to sort of get your arms around this curriculum. How do I use this thing? It's massive. It's got all this stuff and all this moving parts. How does it all fit together? So we do have sort of a webinar that is more about how to use that. And we'd be happy to do as many of those as we need for you to have a chance to plug into that. So if that's of interest, we can start doing that. Once we get past the ADTSEA conference, starting Sunday, we will crank on. So we'll set a how to drive webinar. That's a good idea. I like that.
Well, and it is a thick curriculum, Bill, but the ADTSEA 3.0 was also pretty darn thick. So,
well, given how thorough ADTSEA's content standards are, there's kind of no other way. You can't leave it out. I mean, ADTSEA couldn't endorse a program.
Well, it's not an 8-hour. Yeah, it's not an 8-hour program. It's anywhere from 30 to 45 hours of classroom content. Yeah. We encourage you to take advantage of being an ADTSEA member, whether you contact Mike Kesey if you're interested now or very soon. Mike's making me say 2 weeks, but I think he thinks it's going to be sooner. So I don't think Mike's on, so I won't get in trouble.
I'm on.
Hey, Mike.
I'm hearing you. Yeah. Yeah, we're working on the code. We're working on the code. So we just want to give some time to make sure that it's seamless for everyone. But we do anticipate it by, very, very early August that we'll have this worked. David has given me his utmost assurances to that.
I heard tomorrow.
No pressure.
Yeah.
You heard wrong.
No pressure. But yeah, to get access to that special page, you will need your user's name and password for the ADTSEA website.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be clear, you'll have to log into the ADTSEA website and then go from there to our site.
Yep. To get the benefits.
At least the ADTSEA membership number isn't 18 digits anymore, so that helps.
And the other thing too is that there's going to be, it's a great thing to have a central symposium to go for information, because there's going to be U-Haul and Michelin, other supplemental resources that's going to be available for ADTSEA members that aren't a part of How to Drive, but will be incorporated in addition to that. And you're going to go there to get those too. So it's just going to be a really good centralized location to keep up to date on everything that's being offered.
Yep. So in the new members only section, we will be compiling various resources that you have access to as an ADTSEA member, like the tire safety module with Michelin, safe trailering with U-Haul, and there will be even more resources. Saw Carol Harden is on the webinar. We worked with Carol and others to pull together some resources to make available to the ADTSEA members.
I see a question here about the teacher guide and the student textbook. So the program does overlap somewhat. So everything in the entire program is in the instructor guide. So that's kind of the hub of the program. A lot of the content there is in the textbook. So that's the hard copy or ebook textbook, and just a traditional textbook. And then the student workbook, that's the workbook that each student gets. That's a consumable classroom learning tool. Those are more hands-on exercises. It's short, 60 pages, something like that, fairly short, with those hands-on exercises. That's less about content, because the content is there on the PowerPoints and delivered through the instructor, rather than just giving them a textbook and saying, here, read that. The concept of the workbook that instructors told us they wanted was something hands-on learning, where students are doing or writing or building, drawing, and that's the reason that it's different, if you will, very different from a textbook. The content is in the textbook. The content is not in the student workbook. The student workbook helps the content stick in the students' brains, if you will. That's the intent. And we did use a quarter for the tread depth. So for many years, the recommendation was use a penny. So you insert the penny in as part of the head of, who's on Lincoln? Yeah, Lincoln's on the penny. If you can see all of his head, the tread is probably not deep enough. Our AAA tire engineers said, actually, we recommend that we replace the tires a little bit earlier before you get that low in tread. So let's update the depth. We take the slightly larger quarter, so this results in a slightly more tread before it's time to start thinking about new tires. So use whichever one you feel comfortable with, penny, quarter. Either way, tires are so important. We wanted to make sure that some rule of thumb that was easy to use is in the program that instructors can use. So don't go too long without replacing those tires, either from tread loss or from the actual age of the tires. Oh, I get it. Okay, inflation, yeah.
But
Inflation, that's right. Inflation, yeah, pennies, and who knows, pennies may go away soon, but yeah, just regular old inflation. That's a lot of inflation, 1 cent to 25.
You know, you can hardly get coins now.
Yeah, especially now, nobody wants to touch hard money, any kind of currency. That's right. So, all right. Mike, any more points, or Brett, any other comments before we wrap up?
No, nothing for me. I just really want to appreciate again. Thanks to everybody for sticking with us on a Friday afternoon, and I hope this was helpful. But any questions, and there will be questions, we're happy to help. David and I, Bill, Rich, we're all happy to help. So. But that's it for me.
No, and I'll echo that thank you, and that we look forward to hosting you for the ADTSEA virtual conference starting on Sunday. Definitely a whole new world for all of us, and certainly for us at ADTSEA as the first virtual conference, but I think you're going to be very pleased.
Well, thank you for all the work setting that up, Brett.
Not
And,
done.
This webinar at some point it's being recorded, so it'll be available for reviewing or viewing by folks who ADTSEA members who missed it at some point, right, Brett? That'll be on the ADTSEA website on the member section, I guess.
Yes, or a link in the members section that will take you to it, because this is about a 2.5-hour recording.
Right, and it takes a bit of time to format that, so it's not going to be up there by tonight, say, right?
No.
Yeah, okay, great, all right. Well, again, thank you for joining us today, and it was great to talk with you, great to participate in the webinar, and we'll see you on Sunday starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time for the 2020 ADTSEA conference. Great, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Great to see you all.
Excellent job.
Yes, good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Very nicely done.
Bye.
Thank you, Harold.
Thank you, Rich. Awesome job, sir.